Hi everyone. I've been wanting to make this video for a long time and I only just, literally half an hour ago, now feel ready to tell you what I've calculated, worked out and pondered over for many years. And that is tapering my lithium. So I realised that my doctors in this area wouldn't be able to help me with withdrawing and tapering my lithium. It's like they'd never done it before with a patient and they wouldn't know what to do to kind of advise me. There's only one kind of good psychiatrist around, so I just went with her and I thought, okay, you know, she's pretty old school and I'm not going to go far and wide to try and find someone else that I'd probably have to pay for. So also I'd say that my friend in Canada who's withdrawing at the moment, she's now on 150 and she was on 900, has done really well. She has had the guidance of a psychiatrist, but they always suggested to her to drop by 100 or 150, and she always knew that that was too much for her. So she was kind of going, yeah, I'll do that. But she was actually dropping and reducing much less than that. Okay, so two of my recent videos, you've seen that one, I tried to cut up my pill with a Dremel, which kind of flew bits everywhere and didn't work very well. It wasn't kind of precise enough for me. And then one of my other subscribers suggested to me use sandpaper, which I gave that a go. I did another video on that. There was a kind of crumbly moment, but I think if I'm kind of gentle and slow and calm with it, then it probably won't crumble like it did near the halfway point. So let me just show you. These are the two pills that I can get in the modified release lithium carbonate in France, and that's what I've been on here for 2 years. And in England it was called Priodel, which is also a modified release. And I was looking into having liquid syrup or kind of liquid lithium, but then that's immediate release and I'd have to take it 3 or 4 times a day to kind of spread out my dose throughout the day. And for me, working at a school and things, I just thought, oh, I'm never going to do that on time, and the way I live, I'd prefer just to take it once in the day. So I wanted to try and keep the pill that I was taking as much as possible with my kind of planning and how am I going to go forward with this. So I can get it in a 400, which is what I take at the moment, and then I have 1.5, so then I cut the 400 in half to make 600, and that's what I take every night. But I can also get from the pharmacy a smaller 250 pill, and I've just done this so that you can see how much is the quantity if I cut it in half, how much is it if I do it in a quarter, just to help me try and basically work out how I'm going to taper. I know this is a long film, there's a lot to get in, so I'll just show you quickly an overview of my whole tapering plan from kind of like tonight, which is when I'd like to start, to plus 4 years down the line. Can you see that? Okay, so let's try and explain it in a bit more detail. So this wonderful website called Inner Compass, there's others around as well, American sites that help with tapering, but I read lots on the kind of detailed, you know, how to taper depending on what drug you're on and everything. And it was saying that from the lay person's perspective, so not from kind of scientific analysis, but from what loads of people they've collated all the information together in one place, and this was the outcome. And the outcome is that most people who do a 5% reduction on the month before or the last time that they dropped have the most success from tapering. So it showed a really interesting graph. So one graph was 5%, say you drop every month, for example, 5%. It was always 5% on the first original dose. So for me, that's 600. So going 5% on 600 each time, dropping that. And then the other chart was 5% on the last dose previous. So when you look at a kind of a drawn line of that, they kind of said that the one on this side, the drop is much, much quicker and also very uneven at times. On this side, when you're dropping 5% on the previous month's dose, the drop is completely like a straight line like this. So very, very even drop, and much slower as well, and much more safe. Okay, so I went with the safest option because I want this time to succeed. I have tried twice before to reduce, and it was too quick and jangled my nervous system too much, and it was a mess. This time, I don't want to be a mess. It takes too long to recover. Okay, so once I'd written it all out, so hang on, I'll just tell you how I worked it out first. So how I worked it out was, so I'm starting at 600, and then I worked out what 5% of 600 was, and that got me to 570. I worked out what 5% was of 570, and then I minused that off the 570 to get 541.5. And if you look closely at one section, for example, if you got your calculator out, you could see how I did the 5% and I minus it off, and that's the number I get underneath. And I basically just did that 50 times, which is like a bit like 50 months, which is over 4 years. But there might be times, for example, when I was reading on this inner compass, when I'm getting nearer the end here, the drops become really, really minimal. So if you're only having a 4.7 gram drop, then you go from 94 to 89, for example. It's a really tiny amount. So, you know, if you were going on what the psychiatrist would say, if you get to 100 milligrams, for example, they'd say, right, well, the next time have 0. But I might still feel that I want to reduce more slowly near the end. And I think that's just something I'll have to feel and work out, you know, how am I feeling? Do I want to go straight to 0 here, or do I want to do it in smaller jumps? And I think that's something that I'm going to have to do all the way along, is just keep analysing, keep talking with my husband. Should I stay here for longer? Shall I drop now a little bit more? Or, you know, just keep having that conversation with someone that knows me well, can analyse me through the day and my behaviour and how I've been, etc. So where I've put these kind of lines all the way across, I've basically tried to work out from my different pill options what I would be doing. So for example, at 398 grams, that's so close to 400 that I could take one of the bigger pill at that point in my tapering. Further on down, I've got 324 grams, which is basically like 325 grams, almost the same. I would take half of the big pill and half of the small pill. If you work out the maths, that makes sense, okay? And I just did that all the way through. So I get to a point where I'm on one small pill, and then I get to half a big pill, and then I get half a small pill, and then I get quarter of a big pill, and then I go to quarter of a small pill, and then nothing, basically. Also this point, so with me, I know that from previous trialing and it not working, that when I'm on 500 milligrams, I'm too elevated, and it's, for me, that drop of 100 milligrams was too quick, and I'm straight out of the therapeutic range on that drop of 100 milligrams at the beginning. So this kind of part right at the beginning for me is going to be really, really crucial for kind of succeeding, and I need to take that really, really slowly. Another one of my subscribers said to me that your blood gets completely new and regenerated. It takes 3 months to do that. So each step down, the first 4 here, each step could take me 3 months here. And so after step 4, so when I go from step 4 to step 5, from 414 grams to 488 grams and 7, that's where I'm around the point of jumping out of the therapeutic range. So that's where I'm going to have to be really careful. So in between times, I could try and work out visually or kind of in weight, or there's different ways of working out my grammage. And my dad was like, oh, you know, you could just see how much you shaved off before, maybe even take a picture of your pill and make sure you make it the same as that the night after for a month or whatever, and then the next time you're going to do a bit more when you decide to drop again. So that's kind of almost doing it visually and with a feeling on the sandpaper. I'm kind of erring more on the idea of getting one of those tiny little weighing scales that's that people use to weigh out diamonds and things, and they're very, very accurate, specific scales for minute milligrams, and they're about £15 on Amazon. So I think I might get some of those just to kind of make sure and to keep me feeling confident that I'm doing the right amount of drop in my dose as I go along. Otherwise I might get a bit confused along the way because there's an awful lot of changes going on. Yeah, so what else is there to say? I'm not sure really. I think, oh yes, so what I'm doing tonight, instead of doing a whole 5% drop, I'm going to start the process with getting my sandpaper and my pill, and I'm just going to go rub, rub, rub. And I'm just going to just take off that tiny amount of my pill and do that for a month and see how I feel. So that my body basically is starting to acknowledge that I'm doing something different than usual, and that I've reduced it a tiny bit, but not enough to make me feel any different. That's how I'm imagining it, and that's what my subscriber in Canada says. You probably won't notice any difference by just doing a couple of rubs and taking a tiny bit off. So for me, that's like the start of the process. It keeps me feeling confident, like, okay, this is manageable, I'm just doing a tiny little bit, and let's just go with that. So I hope that was informative, and I would just like to say that none of this has been suggested to me by a psychiatrist or a doctor. I've literally come a little bit to the end of my tether with the different white coat people, and I found that they're not really going to help me achieve what I want to do and where I want to get and succeed with it. And I just thought, well, and my husband says it too, I know myself best, he knows me best as well, and that we can do this together, and we'll work it out. And if there's at any point when I do a drop and I feel like, oh, that's made me unstable, I'm not comfortable here, there's no problem in going back up to my original dose that I was on, and just go as slowly as my body needs to. So there we go. I'm looking forward to hearing all of your comments, and if you like this video, press the little thumbs up and comment below, and yeah, I'll get back to you and tell you how it's going, and I'll keep you updated on my journey of tapering. Thank you everyone, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.